The Turn On Your Inner Light show. It's time to stop just surviving, and it's time to begin to thrive. It's time to live happier and healthier. Turn stress into strength. Noted author Debbie Mandel will show you how to move beyond personal doubts and fears and into positive perception to turn on your inner light. Here's your host, Debbie Mandel.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to my show. Our guest expert is James Beckerman, MD, a Harvard Medical School graduate, a cardiologist who serves on the Oregon Governor's Council for Physical Fitness and Sports, and he's the author of The Flex Diet. Learn how to design your own weight loss plan, and maybe this year will be different for you. Welcome, James.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Now, how does your book differ from all the other diet books?
It's a great question. I think that, if you've looked at any diet books, the thing that they tend to have in common is a singular approach. And so you can tell very early on that this is going to be a book about being a vegan, or a book about having low carbs, or very low fat, or kind of 5 superfoods that you're only allowed to choose from for the next week. But the Flex Diet is quite the opposite, actually. The Flex Diet takes the idea that everybody is an individual, and we need to conform our message into people's lifestyles rather than always forcing people's lifestyles into our health message. And so it's really about trying to design your own program that's going to work for you so you can stick with it.
How do you differ from, let's say, Weight Watchers, which is pretty much they have a point system now, and they give you credit for exercise?
Yeah, I think Weight Watchers has some very good elements with respect to the idea of documenting what you eat and also the meetings that they have. But I think that for a lot of people, the idea of really keeping a point system and keeping tabs of that, I think it's something that a lot of people can do for a few weeks, but then they really find difficult to maintain in the longer term. And it also, I think, tends to generate a certain level of obsessiveness with, how many points was this, and what is that, and what does it add up to? And you end up being more of an accountant than anything. And so what the Flex Diet aims to do is to actually emphasize teaching strategies for becoming healthier and losing weight and letting those rule the day. And after a while, you don't even realize that you're doing them. And so my hope is that we'll be able to basically help people figure out what's going to work for them and find solutions that are going to be empowering to them.
Do you know what I've been thinking about in helping people address their resolutions, which involves, of course, eating and exercise every year? I think it's important to look at the why of things as opposed to setting goals. I'm not into goals about weight loss. I think you have to know why you want to do it. If you don't know why, or if you think you ought to do it, I don't think any diet will help. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely agree. And towards the end of the book, I share some of my personal philosophies about motivation and the idea of, how are we going to continue this beyond the book? Mm-hmm. Because, everybody gets motivated when they're reading the book or listening to the show or watching the TV program. Then eventually it's going to be off, and you got to decide what's going to keep you going. And that 2 ideas. The first is that it has to be your idea in the first place. It can't be your spouse or significant other, your mother-in-law, your doctor. You have to be the person who has decided to do this for yourself. And I also, while goals for weight, I think can be helpful for some people. The general idea, though, is really finding your problem first and then deciding how you're going to develop a solution to reach it. I am a believer that if we think a bit more concretely sometimes, it can actually yield more concrete solutions rather than saying abstractly, I want to be better or I want to be healthier. Those are very big ideas that are often hard to wrap your mind around. But if you say to yourself, you know what, for this class reunion or this blood pressure medication or this thing I want to be able to do with my grandkids, then you have something to anchor yourself around. and it really gives meaning to the lifestyle changes that you're going to put into place.
Now, which do you find as a physician, you're a cardiologist, you really have the magic wand of motivation. You could tell someone this could interfere with your life. I mean, it's not a joke. We talk about metabolic syndrome and the cardiovascular system. So do you incorporate the scare tactic?
I don't believe in scaring people, personally, although it can be effective, and I've seen it work, because scaring, in a strange way, is a form of kind of punishment and adverse conditioning, and I don't think that that's a great way to motivate meaningful changes in behavior. I think that if we can empower people and think about it more positively, we're going to be more effective. And that really speaks to sort of the underlying philosophy of the book, in the sense that, let's say you're on a more traditional low-carb diet plan, and you're counting your points or your carbs or however they're doing it. And you find yourself at a wedding or a birthday party or just out to dinner one night, and you have a slice of chocolate cake. All of a sudden, you're in this downward spiral where you're trying to make up points somewhere else, or think, do I have to run to the gym for 45 minutes to burn this off?
Not a bad idea.
or you know what, I'm scrapping the whole thing because I failed. And that seems to be something that a lot of people go through. And that's why there's so many diet books in landfills. But I tend to think that if you break it down into a lot of different things that people can do, even if you just do 2 of them or 1 of them, you've succeeded. And you may not lose 20 pounds if you do just 1 of them, but you'll know that you did something that was good for you. You can feel good about that. And because of the way that I approach the solutions throughout the book, I do give people a sense of, if you do this one thing, people tend to lose about 1 pound or 2 when they do it. And so you could say, you know what, I'm steering myself the right way. And that empowerment might lead you to do a couple more things, too.
Well, that seems very good. We'll now empower the commercial, and we will return with Dr. James Beckerman, author of The Flex Diet.
Now you can take Debbie Mandel home with you. Her book, Turn On Your Inner Light, Fitness for Body, Mind, and Soul, will help you decompress with healthy, positive, concrete solutions. Common life challenges are presented so that you can quickly find the help you need. Emotional tips, original meditations, and a fun and easy-to-follow fitness workout for each mindset. This revolutionary new method will help you rewire mind and body to take back your power. Get it on Amazon.
Are you overwhelmed with the burden of taking care of children, parents, or both? Are you taking care of everyone else except yourself? It's time to change your habits and re-energize. Debbie Mandel gives you an innovative and easy-to-follow program for good health and happiness. In her magical new book, Changing Habits, The Caregiver's Total Workout, Debbie Mandel shows you step-by-step how to find the optimal balance between giving and receiving, and guides you to exercise and eat right to take care of yourself. What are you waiting for? Read Changing Habits and start training for your life. Life does not need to be a burden. Get Changing Habits, The Caregiver's Total Workout on Amazon.
You're listening to the Turn On Your Inner Light show. I'm your host, Debbie Mandel, and I'm speaking with Dr. James Beckerman, author of The Flex Diet. Do you know what I have observed, James? That when people have a heart attack and they've been carrying around a lot of weight, all of a sudden they lose that weight beautifully. They follow the recommendations of the American Heart Association. I've seen this time and time again. I've seen doctors in the past, I mean, we're less brutal now, but I've seen doctors say, you're going to drop dead, and not even the fire department will revive you. And I've seen people just drop that weight, 1, 2, 3. So what's wrong with that kind of tactic? And why do we have to wait till the heart attack?
Well, I think that ultimately we want to prevent the heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I just personally feel that scaring people into doing things isn't a great way to actually motivate them.
But it might be the flex way. That's one option, right? I mean, why do people lose weight all of a sudden after something catastrophic happens or become happy? You know, they're not happy. Oh, once they get cancer, now I'm happy. I know what's important. Maybe people need that contrast, right? The dark and the light need to coexist.
Some people probably do. But I think that when you're kind of trying to approach people on a more universal level, I think that talking about the boogeyman and being all darkness is
well, a heart attack is not a boogeyman. It's a reality. I mean, you could see it, you know it, you could measure it, you can quantify it, you know.
True.
And these are realities, and some people have to be told, and then they can change, right? I mean, something's got to give.
It's true. I mean, I think that to the extent that it's important that people recognize that weight is really a barometer of their health, in so many ways, heart health included, that can certainly be a motivating factor. But I guess, you know, everybody's different. And I find that when I talk to patients, I definitely find that some people respond to stronger arm a little bit more than others. But as a general point, the last thing that we want to do is really intimidate people or make them feel pushed away by our tactics. And for me, what's been effective is really trying to make people feel good about the choices that they're making, understand them, understand what they're trying to accomplish, and understand what they're trying to avoid, but ultimately in a more positive way. We have something, you know, in medical terms, I'm sure you're familiar with, called the teachable moment, which is really that idea that there are certain touch points in our lives as they intersect with our health when we have a really good opportunity to teach people things and have a greater likelihood that they're going to adopt those behaviors. But for a lot of people, that teachable moment isn't obvious. If you're the, 40-year-old single mom who's busy with all the craziness of life and you've been healthy, then the teachable moment isn't that obvious. And so I think that one of our responsibilities as people trying to communicate these healthy changes is to make the experience of the book or the program or the show the teachable moment unto itself. And if we do that, man, we've totally succeeded, because you've not only given the tools, but you've given the motivation to use them.
Well, you've said that the 40-year-old single mom is relatively healthy. Not at one size doesn't fit all. We can be fat and fit, and we could be skinny and be fat inside, have organ fat as opposed to subcutaneous fat. So for some people, it's fine. It's okay to be overweight. You know, I assume we're speaking about obesity. But again, you could be Rubenesque and lovely. But I want to touch on some points that you made in the book that I found to be very interesting, like keeping a photo food diary, and that could be more effective than journaling. Could you explain that? That was interesting.
Yeah. Well, the data about food diaries in general is really quite amazing. In truth, it's felt by most experts to be the single most effective thing that people can do to lose weight. And statistics suggest that people lose double the weight if they document what they eat and drink. But the truth is, it can be pretty inconvenient to carry around a pad of paper. I feel like few people actually use pens these days and are more comfortable typing or using, their smartphone. And everybody's carrying a camera phone these days, it seems like. And so it's a great opportunity just to pull that thing out for 3 seconds before you dive in to whatever you're about to eat. And have those 3 seconds not only to document it so you can look at it later, but that brief moment of mindfulness actually is been shown by research to help people change their behaviors in 1 week of doing that. That's pretty amazing that after just taking 20 photos of food, 3 meals a day over a week, you're going to start making healthier choices. And it's easy to do, and a lot of people are posting them on blogs and just to kind of get it out there. And I think it's a great idea.
I think it's wonderful, too, because some people respond to visual cues more than to the written word. So that, and some people are auditory. Maybe they need to record what they're reading. But when you see it, you say, wow, did I have all of that? I mean, you could use Finagler's law when you write, huh?
But people have selective memories, but it's, a picture literally says 1,000 words.
Yes, it does. And then I found something else that was different, that we should be eating microwave meals more often. Why would you say that?
Well, I'm not necessarily saying we should do it more often, but I think that for some people, it's a very good solution. Given that we're talking about flexibility and designing this yourself, I think it's unrealistic to assume that everybody is going to be, producing these gorgeous recipes. You see these beautiful recipes online or in magazines, and for a lot of us, crazy lives and crazy kids and crazy everything, that's just not a reality.
Or if you're cooking challenged like I am. But we're coming back to Dr. James Beckerman, author of The Flex Diet, after commercial break.
Dear listeners, I'm excited to tell you about my new book, Addicted to Stress. This is the message you need to hear. Are you addicted to stress? Do you do it all while everyone depends on you? Where's all this pressure coming from? It is coming from inside you. This is why my publisher, John Wiley, asked me to write Addicted to Stress, a woman's 7-step program to reclaim joy and spontaneity in life. This fun-to-read book teaches proven strategies to reclaim your life, silence your inner critic, build a healthy body, and reframe your thoughts to change your life for the better. Dare to be happy without the guilt. Addicted to Stress is easy to get. It's available at Barnes & Noble and other fine bookstores everywhere. You can also buy it at Amazon and other online retailers.
Back to Microwave Meals with Dr. James Beckerman. Okay, continue.
That's not the name of the book, though. Come on. So we were saying the idea that for some people, microwave meals are going to be good solutions because they'll fit into their lives. But it's a question of just picking the healthy ones. And there are a few things you can do to think about that a little bit more effectively, like thinking about the sodium content, trying to choose only those meals with less than 800 milligrams, and trying to set a limit for calories to probably about 400. And keep in mind that some of these microwave meals are tricky because it'll say that there are 2 servings within them. So you've got to look at that little nutrition label and make sure that you're not being tricked by that. And so I think that they can be good solutions for some people because they're fixed size, really good options for lunch for a lot of people who are busy at work. And you just got to pick the right ones.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're smaller in portion size than I would cook up. And then you're done. It's no stress, and stress is a big, I think it's a big factor, really, maybe the root cause of eating to numb yourself, eating to soothe an empty heart. There's so many issues that are involved in eating, even post-traumatic stress syndrome, right, that could occur. Child sexually abused turns out, according to research, to be more obese. Then there are genes for obesity, right? And then there are viruses. I mean, this is so complicated. And then there's human nature. Now, I also like that you were talking about energy bars, because I go to the gym regularly, and lots of people are having either energy bars or powdered drinks. I know you're on the side of whey. What's wrong with a natural food, like a yogurt or a banana?
I'm with you on that. Energy bars are in some ways just an amazing rebranding of candy bars, because it turns out that the federal government says that you can call a food an energy food if it has calories. And so, it makes you want to enjoy some energy pizza and have an energy beer. But the truth is that energy bars are candy bars. They have different wrapping. They may have a little bit more protein, and they don't taste as good. And so, when you're consuming 400 calories at a pop in somebody sometimes, after having just gone for a brisk walk, it's one thing if you're doing something incredibly vigorous and you need those carbs during the marathon to keep you going. But for the most part, most people don't really need that. They just need real food, a banana, a piece of fruit like an apple, something with some fiber in it that'll help keep you full. And just trying to avoid anything in a shiny wrapper.
Well, watch out for those shiny wrappers.
Yeah.
Women better watch out what they wear. Now, why do overweight people need a multivitamin? You made another interesting point about that.
When I was looking into the data about supplements that work and ones that definitely don't, multivitamins were interesting in that research has shown that obese individuals are frequently deficient in many different vitamins. It's not entirely understood why. And part of the concern is that there could be a problem with absorption. And some other studies have asked the question, well, what if we give people a multivitamin? Will that have any benefit? And it seems that there can be a very slight benefit with respect to weight loss. And the reasons for that are not well known either. And, keep in mind that none of these solutions is going to be the game changer. And they shouldn't be. These are small little strategies that you add up. And so it's not as though if you're 40 pounds overweight, if you start taking a vitamin today, something is going to miraculously happen tomorrow. But it's part of a lifestyle, and it's part of putting it all together, and that's really the goal.
Now, do you advocate exercise daily and for how long, or is it primarily calories in, calories out?
I think that activity and exercise are both very important. And I've often felt that while what you eat will likely be the biggest factor in how much you weigh, what you do and how you take care of yourself with exercise will impact your health.
Well, I'm going to have to stop you at this point, not because I don't agree, although I'd love to argue. I can't argue. Right. Yes, but our time has gone. Can we reach you anywhere on the planet? How do we access you?
Oh, yeah, anytime. Well, I have a website for the book at www.theflexdiet.com, and I'd love to connect with people through Facebook. A lot of readers have been posting online, and our page is facebook.com/theflexdiet. So
thank you so much. Be well. We'll let you know if you help.
Right on. Thank you very much.
We don't need a new diet book next year. Affirmation of the week. Which do you prefer, independence or interdependence? And now for the latest medical trends. Patient deaths from pneumonia and acute myocardial infarction increased significantly in hospitals where nurses reported long hours and less downtime. This is according to the University of Maryland. From Johns Hopkins, get a load of this. Black obese patients receive less weight-related counseling than white obese patients. Not a surprise. For the first time in history, the next generations of Americans will not live as long or longer than their parents due to complications from obesity. Taking dietary supplements containing essential fatty acids can help reduce the symptoms of premenstrual syndrome, according to the results of a study by researchers at a Brazilian university. These essential fatty acids are substances that you can get in eggs, nuts, vegetable oils, and fish, and are available in supplement form. New evidence suggests that memory drills and similar brain-boosting activities are not any better than simple conversations at improving memory in older adults. And the effects of antioxidants, like many supplements, are not fully known. Now, a Weizmann Institute professor has found that while antioxidants do fight bad reactive oxygen species. They can also inhibit good forms like those that trigger ovulation. So if you're trying to get pregnant, discuss this with your doctor. It might make a difference. And we come to the close of another show. I have an educational website, totally free, turnonyourinnerlight.com, where all the radio shows with the guest experts are archived for your listening pleasure. Subscribe to my free newsletter for the latest radio show, a fresh new article on stress management, and the health tips fully delineated at turnonyourinnerlight.com. Have a wonderful week, and see you on the radio.